Hello, CAP&GOWN scholars. This is Ms. Mojica with ACT Science, and today we are going to be talking about research summaries. So these types of passages are going to present experiments to you along with supporting data. In order to understand this, you need to be asking yourself, what's being tested, how is this being done, and what are the results that I'm seeing telling me? So your goal should be to focus those charts, tables, graphs, and supporting data that you see and skim the reading so that you can cut down on your time. In order to do this, you need to ask yourself those questions that we mentioned earlier. And to answer them, you need to make sure you find the topics. You can usually find this in the very, very beginning. You also need to pay attention to your control dependent and independent variables, as well as the results. What kind of relationship are we seeing between the variables that we noticed? So all of this information can typically be found in that introductory paragraph. So let's look at this first example together. So let's try to answer those questions by just looking at this introductory paragraph. So this passage is telling us some students performed 3 studies to measure the average speed on a flat surface of a gas-powered golf cart. Each study was conducted on a fair day with no wind. 500-foot-long flat surface was measured, and the cart's travel time was measured from start to finish with a stopwatch. The cart was not modified in any way, and the same driver was used each time. And the cart's fuel tank was filled before each trial. So just off of that, we know our dependent variable is going to be speed. That's what we're measuring, and that's what changes depending on the flat surface, which is our independent variable. Our controls, what remains the same, what we don't change, and we are actually physically controlling to make sure that it does not change, is that cart. So we have supporting data. We see study 1 is tied to table 1, study 2 is tied to table 2, and study 3 is tied to table 3. So based off of that, let's go ahead and try to look at our questions. So we have 2 that we're going to do real quick. One is asking us the highest average speeds resulted from using which surface? And then according to table 1, the average speed for all 3 trials is what? So again, we know our variables. Our question is asking us highest average speed. So we know we're going to look at all of the data that we're seeing. And question 2 is more specific to table 1. So if we keep going and focus on question 1, to answer this question, we need to, of course, look at the data. Find the highest average speed. It's going to be 14.7. Now we know that table 1 is tied to study 1, which is over here, and we just need to find the surface type. The students first drove the cart on a smooth asphalt road. So we know that that is going to be answer choice C. And again, we didn't have to read through these. We just kept it moving. Question 2 is asking us according to table 1. So we know we're only going to look here. The average speed for all 3 trials is what? So we can see that it's not less than the speed in trial 1, because 14.7 is greater than 14.2, so we can eliminate F. We can see it's not greater than the speed in trial 3, because 14.7 is less than 14.8, and we can see that it's not greater than the speed in trial 2, because 14.7 again is less than 15. So finally, our correct answer is going to be J, because it is absolutely less than the speed measured in trial 3. So again, we looked at those without really reading the whole passage. We looked at the introduction, we focused on answering those 3 questions, and we kept it moving. It's really important that as you're practicing, you try to look at real passages that are complete and you're keeping to your time. Make sure to aim for 5 minutes per passage so that you can have plenty of time as you're attacking the rest of them. Thank you, scholars. Until next time.